All right, welcome back to Head Kick Audio. I got a very special guest. I got Lauren, the Linguist Wolfe, who competes at RUF 50, which I don't know where we're at on the card, but did we get promoted to main event?
I think we got depromoted to co-main.
Uh-oh, what happened?
I don't know. It looked to me, I guess I hadn't actually been told, but it looked to me just based on the stuff they were posting and whatnot that we were main event. And now I see on the posters it looks like there's a male fight after us. So
Well, I don't know if what's going on, but I think there may be something in the works here. So keep your eye out for that. I think there's something going on. But I will tell you, very excited for this fight. We were just talking about your opponent and how good she is and how hard it's been to find fights for her. And you're telling me the same thing, that you're pretty damn good yourself, and it's been hard for you to find opponents. So talk to me about that whirlwind, how you linked up with RUF, and then tell me what you think about your opponent.
yeah, so I was trying to just get fights on my own, and I have. It's been hard. I've had like one fight a year for quite a while, so I finally decided to hire a manager, Roman Athletic Institution. And he even sent me, I think, 5 or 6 matchups, and every girl said no until Zarina said yes. So, of course, I was going to take it no matter what. She does look tough, but yeah, like you said, I feel like I'm pretty tough too. And it'll be a fun fight for sure.
I absolutely agree. I think both of you guys bring it 100% of the time. 100% of the time. That doesn't really make sense. But you guys are all action, okay? And this is going to be a very fun fight. Now, this fight is professional. So for her, she's making her professional debut. You've already got a couple fights under your belt, and you've gone the distance. Do you think that benefits you?
I do. I remember getting ready for my first pro fight, and I was like terrified of the fact I was going from 3 to 5 minute rounds, especially because I had actually never had a fight go to decision before. And since going pro, both of my fights have gone to decision, but it's really nice knowing that I have that ability and that I've experienced the longer rounds. And before my last fight, I actually got a cold about a week before I started weight cutting. And so my cardio was kind of zapped and I was still able to do it. And so that even that gives me a lot of confidence.
Well, and I think it plays into the later this fight goes, the more comfortable it is for you. You know what I mean? Because yes, she's gone the distance at an amateur level, but that's 9 minutes. You're talking about 15 minutes. And when you're balls to the wall, like you two ladies will be, it's a
Right.
very, very, very different game. So I think that the later this fight goes, the more it plays in your favor. Now, again, both you guys very explosive, very powerful, very dynamic. I think the fans are in for a treat. So talk to me about your training camp. Have you done anything different from your previous 2 professional fights?
Yes, I started working with a Czech Institute certified coach. So he's helped me a lot with my mindset, just nutritional advice, and more MMA specific workouts. So, it used to be just random like Olympic lifts and running and all that kind of stuff. And now it's my workout programs are very dynamic and all of the movements are specifically for fighting. And then when it comes to my nutrition, this is the first fight camp ever that I haven't weighed every little piece of food I ate and counted every single calorie. I haven't done that a single time, and the weight has just been coming off, and I feel like so much more relaxed. Normally, the weight cut is so stressful, but this time it's been probably the easiest part of my fight camp. So it's really nice just taking that worry off the table, and being able to focus more on my workouts and my training sessions.
Now, I'm not no scientist, right? So I can't tell you any facts, but do you think it's harder for women to cut weight than it is for men?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, hormones play a big role, but then more than anything, it's the water cut. I mean, pretty much all of us, if you just don't eat like an asshole, you're going to lose weight. But when it comes to the water cut, um, in one of my first amateur fights, there were a couple guys on from my team on the same card as me, and we all sat in the sauna, and they all lost like 3 to 5 pounds in the amount of time we were in there, and I lost point 0.2. So you definitely have to plan on cutting water a different way, and yeah.
Okay, so maybe for some of the younger lady viewers, what are some ways that you cut weight?
Uh when it comes to dieting, like I said, don't eat like an asshole. The biggest thing is just take out all inflammatory foods and you'll probably lose, like, no dairy, no gluten, all that kind of stuff. You'll probably lose like 3 to 5 pounds right away, depending on how much of that stuff you were eating. But then when it comes to water weight, like, don't focus on the sauna, focus on an Epsom salt bath, your last day right before weigh-ins, and use tons of Epsom salts. Like, just dump it in there. I think my husband makes me use like 20 pounds. And then the water's so hot that I usually, like, he has to hold me in there because I'm crying and I hate it. But but it's effective. And then just your water loading and really being careful about your carbs and salt in the last week.
Okay, and now that we're professional and we're building this team, do you think it's important to do you think that it would have benefited you to start kind of some of that stuff earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it's, as with anything, it's kind of learn as you go. I knew I needed, my amateur career was good. Like, I still had a winning record, but um, it was a lot more work than it has been now, just because I didn't have a ton of confidence, which that also just comes with doing it. I've had more fights, I've been training longer. I can now admit, like, I am good at this, and it doesn't feel weird to say that just because I've put in the time and the work. But hiring a mental, or someone who helped me, he's not a mental coach, but he helps me with that a lot. And that was definitely one of the best decisions I've ever made. And if I could have done it sooner, that would have been great, but I'm happy to have done it when I did. So
Okay, and then the opponent, Zarina Turi, what does she do well that we got to keep an eye on?
she has very persistent striking. She's definitely going forward, and she throws a lot of strikes, lots of kicks. She mixes it up well. And obviously I'm going to be shorter. I'm almost always shorter. So I'm going to have a reach disadvantage. So, closing that distance and dealing with her range and her constant movement.
Okay, and after the fight, I know fighters don't like to look past the fight. Okay, but what are some of your aspirations? Let's put it that way. What are some of your aspirations in the sport?
I just want to take it as far as I can go. At this point, one of the things that my coaches helped me with when it comes to the mental part is thinking about my why. Why do I want to do this? Of course, I'd love to get into the UFC, but I realized it's not even because I want to be in the UFC for fame or to tell anybody that's where I am, but because I want to push myself to go as far as I possibly can. If that's where I end up, then that's awesome. But I'm just going to keep taking the next test until I get to the end of that road, I guess.
Okay, okay. So you're just looking to be the best that you can be.
Yes. And that
Okay,
sounds so cliche and cheesy, but truly that is why I do this. I want to be the strongest, most capable person I can be in this. And fighting seems to be the best way for me to pursue that goal.
well, the most cliche thing is I want to be the greatest fighter of all time. That is the most cliche.
Yes.
So wanting to be the best version of yourself, a little less cliche, but also it's probably the best fucking answer that you can have. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If you're going to do anything, do something that makes you better. And if this makes you better, then I'm all for it. Plus, I get to commentate, I get to watch, I get to shake hands. I'm totally cool with you pursuing this,
Yes.
100%.
That's always fun too, for sure. Just the fight environment is always fun.
Okay. What got you into the sport?
I was just kind of lost in my early 20s, and I had little to no confidence. And I started lifting, and I hired a personal trainer who was actually my MMA coach now. So I was always seeing everybody training all the time, and it looked really cool. And then that was about the time that Ronda Rousey blew up. So, of course, as almost any woman who got into fighting at that time, see Ronda Rousey and you're like, oh, I want to be that. So that was a big inspiration too. Again, cliche, but it's true.
I mean, come on. Come on. You can't talk about women's MMA without talking about the Ronda Rouseys, the Misha Tates. You know what I mean? You can't. They literally made it what it is today. Okay, they paved the way for sure. So I don't think that it's cliche at all, especially when it's this we're in the infancy stages still. I feel, you know what I mean. MMA as a sport is getting bigger and it's getting better. I wish they could do something better with judging because that kind of sucks. You know what I mean?
Those tend to
But
be
what's that? I'm sorry.
does tend to be a problem for sure.
I mean, I can't tell you how many fights I watch, whether I'm commentating or not, where I'm just like, wow, okay, I did not see that coming.
Right.
So it's very unfortunate that sometimes, you know, when it makes it to the cards that you know, your fate is kind of, you know, in three strangers' hands that may or may not know fighting very well. How do you
Yep.
feel about that?
It's part of the sport. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. Again, I feel like when you know your why, and like I'm doing this to test myself and see how I can be, or how good I can do, I guess. Of course you want the win, but my identity is not hung up on whether I win or lose. So if it were to get taken from me by a judge, it is what it is, and you move on and you go to the next test. Uh, I hope that doesn't happen. You know, obviously I want to win with every fiber of my being, but again, if it doesn't happen, on to the next.
Okay. Well, I like the frame of thinking, right? Because if you make this all about winning and, you know, it starts to consume you. You know what I mean?
I feel like it creates a lot of hesitation too when your uh, whole entire mindset is just win, win, win. Sometimes you get in there and you kind of freeze because you're like, if I make the wrong move, what if I don't win? Whereas I think if you can let go of the outcome and just focus on the here and now, it gives you the freedom to actually take the risks you need to take. You know, that's all fighting is. It's one giant risk. So you have to be in the frame of mind where you're willing to take those risks.
Well, plus the less freezing you do in the cage, the less times you get hit in the face.
Very true. Very true.
I mean, if I would have thought about that way when I was fighting, I would have got punched a lot less because there was a lot of freezing going on when I was fighting. It was like, what the fuck? Where am I? You know what I
It's
mean?
me plenty as well. Yeah.
So let's talk about your first walk. Since I'm reminiscing, let's reminisce about your first walk. How nervous were you? How terrified were you? Or was it like less terrifying than you thought?
It's actually really funny to think about it because it was definitely less terrifying. I think like I was just so excited. I didn't really even know what I was walking into, you know? So like I had nothing but excitement. Um and then you contrast with my second one, I was actually so much more nervous for my second one because it's like now I've been in there, now I know what to expect. And so there's actually a little bit of fear, you know, that creeps in. Whereas that first time I was just pumped.
I can definitely relate to that. 0-2, so I lost both my fights, but the second fight was way worse because it's like I know what can happen to me, and
Right.
I don't, you know, you just like, well, fuck, now I know, and then it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm having second thoughts. Oh, the cage is already locked. Oh, you said go.
I kicked out.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like fuck.
Yep, I lost my first fight. I was winning, and then we got to the ground, and she armbarred me because I forgot that we weren't doing jujitsu, so I just stayed in her guard and just let her armbar me. I guess I don't know. And then the second fight, being from Montana, we don't have a lot of people here to fight, so I fought the same girl, and so I was like just freaking out because I was like, I cannot lose to this girl twice. I can't do that, and it worked out. But
Well, it sounds like all you had to do was not go to the ground.
yeah, well, we actually did go to the ground and it ended up perfectly fine for me, but I remembered to stand up. So it was good.
Well, if you don't, if you make the same mistake twice, then that's kind of your fault, you know.
Definitely.
But I totally like the first fight, like you said, the first fight, it was kind of like nerve wracking, but you go in there and you're just like, oh, this is fucking cool. I'm about to fucking, you know, get in a cage fight.
Yep.
And then you lose. And then the second one, it's like, oh my God. See, I can only imagine fighting the same dude. That would actually make me feel a little bit better. Because if I lost to the same guy, oh, okay, that guy just has my number. I can let that. No, I fought a fucking killer in my second fight because the promotion just needed a body, and I said, "Ooh, pick
I'll
me."
do it. Yeah.
So, have you had any trouble? Obviously, finding opponents for sure, but have you had any issues with, you know, promoters like trying to get you to sign a fight that maybe they thought would benefit them?
Um, I had one fight where that happened. My coach, like I was heavier when I first started, and it was my third fight. my coach told me not to take the fight, and I told the promoter I'd take it anyway. So it was at 145, and I mean, she's a beast. Riley Martinez, she still fights at 145 because she's a legit 145, or I was not. So, and I think the promoter definitely knew, what was going to happen in that fight. It was actually a pretty good scrap, but she definitely, she won 2 rounds to 1. Yeah, that's the only time I've ever really been beat up. And I know, like, my coach told me don't take a fight at 145, and I was like, I can do it. I'm fine. I wasn't fine.
It's only 10 pounds. Come
Yeah,
on.
no big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 10 pounds and like, a foot of height.
Yep.
What are you really giving up, What are you really giving up?
No big deal. Yeah.
All right, so talk to me about you're going to be making your debut with RUF. Okay, and it's pretty exciting. This is like probably the best women's matchup that we can come up with. You know what I mean? Getting 2 killers like you and Zarina. Talk to me about how your experience has been with RUF.
It's been great so far. I've had no problems. This is my first time ever fighting under a commission, so getting all my medicals and everything. Like, I've done a little bit of blood work for a couple promotions, but I haven't ever had to go through all of that. So that's just been interesting, and makes me feel like a real professional now. So, but RUF has been very easy to deal with, and everything's been great.
I know our matchmaker does a really good job of. Obviously, fights don't always play out the way that you think that they would play out, but I think he comes up with some of the most competitive matches. Now, of course, some dude can go out there and have a bad night and get starched in 10 seconds. It happens. You know what I mean? But I think he really, and he's getting so good with his pros. I mean, he's got his Ammies, he knows them like the back of his hands. He knows what's going to be a good fight and what's going to suck. Okay. But with his pros, his pro fights have been so good lately. And I can only imagine what yours is going to look like.
I'm pretty excited for it. It's going to be fun for sure.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. We don't get to call. I don't think I've ever called a professional female fight. So you're popping that cherry. Okay.
Heck yeah.
So it'll be dope. Plus my kids, my wife, they're all going to be there. So they get to watch, professional women fight live. You know what I mean? So that's going to be pretty inspiring for them because they like watching the girl fights. I know, what's her name? Of course, now I sound like a fucking idiot and an asshole. Anyway, there's this girl fighter that fights in the UFC that my daughter likes. And she's the girl that broke her arm twice. What's her name?
Was it Paige? She broke it during a
Victoria Leonardo or Leandro. Anyways,
now too. I don't know.
I think it's Victoria Leonardo. I think that's her last name. I know it's Victoria, but my daughter watched her fight, and my daughter was like, "Wow, she's cool," And this is at the time I think she was like 11. And so every time that girl fights, she wants to see it. So, but this will be the first time that they get to see it live. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That'll be fun.
No extra pressure. I promise. I promise my kids are cool, but it's pretty cool. So do you think, that you competing as a professional in a young sport like this, does that matter to you at all? Be inspiring to young women?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I hope I can do for, other young girls what Ronda Rousey did for me. Like, I was definitely pretty lost and didn't know what I was doing with my life, and I didn't have, well, really any self-confidence at all. And walking into fighting was one of the best decisions I ever made. Like, it gave me purpose and has helped me with everything in my life. I mean, it's what led me to meeting my husband and all of my best friends, and it was the best decision I ever made. So I definitely hope that I can inspire someone else to make that choice too, to find their tribe and grow as a person.
Now, was there any like family members or friends that were like, "Oh, are you sure about this fighting thing? I don't know about that."
After I got beat up by the girl who weighed 145 pounds, my dad did tell me that, like, before he told me he wouldn't pay for my school. And after that fight, he's like, if you wanted to go to school, I would pay for it. But but once I said, oh, if I can keep fighting, then yeah, I'll take that offer. And he said, no, you have to just go to school. And I said, nah, I'm going to fight. Since then, he has been very supportive. My whole family is. They're incredible.
Are they going to be in attendance on October 22nd?
Unfortunately, no. My mom just sent her horses to the trainer, so she has to pay for that and can't pay for flights. But my husband and my best friend are going, and then I do have a couple friends making a road trip from Wyoming to go. So yeah, so I'll have like 5 whole people in attendance.
That's okay, because the people that don't know you before your fight, they will definitely know you after the fight.
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some non-fight related questions, right? Because we've been talking about fights the whole night, and I think we probably could. But outside of fighting, what are some things you like to do?
I like to bake, so that's kind of a funny contrast. But I make specialty cakes and stuff that I can't eat, but I make them. So that's probably my number one hobby outside of fighting. Yeah.
That is the most bizarre answer I've ever gotten. Usually it's, I like hiking, I like being outdoors, I like video games, baking. Okay.
Yeah. I worked in a bakery before I started this, and I'm not super artistic unless it comes to food, and then I feel like I'm pretty artistic. So yeah, it's my creative outlet.
Hey, whatever helps you with your creative outlet.
Definitely.
I don't have one of those yet. I need to find one still. I'm horrible in the kitchen. I once made my wife an omelet for breakfast, right? And she's like, "Where the fuck did you get the green meat from?"
Oh no. That's not a good sign.
It wasn't green on the other side. So, needless to say, Steve stays the fuck out the kitchen.
Maybe a good idea.
It's a fantastic idea because I would love for my wife and children to be around for a very long time. And if I'm in the kitchen, they won't be.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to do that.
No. I can cook very few things, though. I can do pancakes. I can do macaroni from a box. But
Perfect.
the one thing they always ask me to do is ramen. Apparently, I make the best ramen they have ever had.
I feel like there is a way to do it, like where you cook the noodles till they get all gushy or whatever, and then it's delicious. If you have that skill, yeah.
Well, see, the thing is you don't just use what the package contains. Now I'm trying to fucking say words and it's not working. The package. You don't just use what's in the package. You add your own flavors.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I've got a skill when it comes to the ramen, but that's it.
Yep, that's all you need.
Yeah. So I mean, well, we spent one summer eating nothing but ramen. So you had to get creative. Otherwise, you're just eating the same thing over and over for an entire summer, and it's not fun.
Yeah. Right.
All right. We get to ask my favorite question. Okay. Everybody that comes on the show has to answer this question. Okay. So no pressure. Again, I'm not trying to put any pressure on you whatsoever, but your answer's got to be good. Okay. So when your hand gets raised on October 22nd at RUF 50, I want to know how you are celebrating with your victory meal.
I got some Who chocolate already, like HU. It's the best chocolate in the world. It doesn't have any like real sugar in it. It's sweetened with coconut sugar, but it's better than most chocolate, I swear. So, I got some Who chocolate, and then my husband really wants to go to Fogo de Chao because we don't have one of those here.
What is a Fogo de Chao?
It's a Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh,
Meat,
okay.
like, on skewers, and the whole time you're eating, they just come and slice meat off and put it on your plate. It's so good.
That sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, it's the best.
Okay, okay. And there's one in Phoenix?
Yes, at least according to my husband's research, there is.
Well, he sounds like a smart guy. So
Yeah,
I trust him. I
he's
trust him.
great.
And if there isn't one, then you just got to rag on him the whole ride home.
Definitely. Yes. Well, he'll be upset enough. I won't need to add to it, probably. This is the number one thing he's looking forward to, more than my fight. It's Fogo de Chao.
Well, okay, so I think there is a Brazilian steakhouse in Phoenix. I just don't know where it's at, and I don't know where it's called. So it very well may be that.
Perfect.
So, and I heard it's super dope. So there's a fighter that's sponsored by a Brazilian steakhouse. So I'll have to look back. I'll look back in my Instagram messages because I actually messaged the steakhouse uh, for some reason. I don't know. I was just like, hey, what the hell, or something. So I'll go back and I'll let you know. That way,
Sweet.
you know ahead of time.
Perfect.
So I'll do my best to help out in that aspect. Otherwise, I mean, you know, you can always get a burger.
Yeah. That's one of my number one favorite foods. So if I don't get meat on a stick, then that works.
Okay. Are you ketchup or mustard?
I hate ketchup. Hate it. But I do like mustard. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm a mustard guy. Uh, so we're okay here. We're
Yep.
definitely okay here.
Good. I don't know why, but there's something weird about telling people you like mustard. It just sounds icky, but it's better. Definitely better.
Definitely better, and it doesn't sound icky. So whoever told you that, just give them a wet willy or something because they don't know what the hell they're
Words
talking about.
in my head. I don't know.
Oh, well, give yourself a wet willy then.
All right. Later. Not now.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely don't do it on camera. You'll never live it down.
No.
Okay, do you have a fight prediction?
For my fight?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna win.
Do you have a manner in which you think you will get it done?
Yes, I do, but I don't want to say.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Okay.
Okay, don't give it away. But you're planning on finishing this girl?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That's all we're gonna say about it then.
Perfect. I like it.
It's gonna be a flying, spinning elbow into an armbar at what is it, 4:59 in round three. That's how you're gonna finish it
The Mighty Mouse armbar. Yeah.
with a spinning back elbow in there somehow
Yes. That's how I'll set it up.
at 4:59 of the third round.
Perfect.
It's gonna be the most extravagant, crazy finish. That's your Ronda Rousey moment right there. Girls are gonna
Oh
see that
yeah.
and they're gonna be like, wow,
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know her elbow could do that.
Definitely. Yep.
Well, look, it's been a lot of fun chatting up with you. It's already been a half hour. I can't believe that we just, you know
Yeah,
what I
that
mean?
was a pretty good one.
It's pretty cool. So I'd like to give you a chance to get your shout outs, thank yous, sponsors, training partners, whatever. Take the floor.
Thank you to Matt and Connell Powers, my MMA coaches, jujitsu. Geez, okay. This is the part I rehearsed and now I can't do it. Okay, Jen Schmill at Zoo BJJ, my husband Derek Paulson, and Jerry Kuykendall, my Czech coach, and all of my sponsors.
All of you, thank
All
you.
of them. Yeah.
All of you, thank you. And of course, the management team, thank them as well.
Yes, Roman Athletic Institution. Thank you very much for getting me a fight. I'm super excited.
And thank you for putting this fight together because now I get to call her fight. I get to see her live and it's going to be super dope. Those guys always keep their fighters busy. So I'm super stoked that you're with them because they do a really good job. They actually get a lot of shout outs on this show just because they do a lot with their fighters. And I'm super okay with that.
Yes, I'm really excited. Even though I had so many girls turn down fights, just getting offers for fights was really exciting, and now I have one. So
And it's super dope. It takes place October 22nd at the Celebrity Theater in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. RUF 50. Like I said, pay close attention to that social media because I think some news is going to break here pretty soon about something. I just don't know yet. So pay attention to that. And the you're going to have a fighter code. You're going to have a fighter code. What's your fighter code?
fighter code.
Yeah, so that when people buy the pay-per-view, they could check your name in that little box right there and you get some of that cash.
I've just been posting the link. I haven't actually. I don't know what my code is. It's just Lauren Wolfe.
investigative head kick audio
If
is
you
gonna
go
be
to my Instagram, lauren.wolfe.mma, it's in my bio, the link to
okay.
it.
So check the bio, and if not, I'm gonna put her fighter code right here. Well, not right here. It'll be underneath her.
Perfect.
So
Thank
she'll
you.
have, you can follow her on her Instagram handle, which will be right under her face, and then also under her face will be her fighter code. How about that?
Perfect. Thanks for your help.
Absolutely 100%. Lauren, it's been a absolute pleasure. We're what, 8 days out? So in like a little over a week, I get to shake your hand, watch you kick ass. Super cool. I'm down with it.
I look forward to it.
So do I. I'm super pumped. Anything else before we sign off?
I don't think so.
All right. Stay hydrated. Until next time.
Thank you.